Hey, what's going on, sports fans? This is Sean with boxingandbasketball.com here with my co-host Matthew Rayner. What's going on, Matthew?
Hey, it's a good day here in San Antonio. My Spurs put a little bit of BTA on the Wounded Wolves. And I know we're going to talk
Did
about
he?
that, but it's a good day down here in San Antonio.
Man, did he? Listen, after that first game, I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of shaking about whether Wemby and them was gonna do it. But I mean, y'all came through. I was looking, I said, man, they really put the beat down on them.
Yes, we did. We got another one coming tomorrow in game 3.
Yep. So normally earlier, I mean, we're gonna start off with topic number one, Matthew. Normally we usually start about 8 o'clock, but due to unforeseen circumstances, we had to push it back to almost 9 o'clock. But we were going to talk about, can Cade Cunningham and them go 2-0 versus the Cavs tonight? But the game just ended about 5-10 minutes ago. And let me tell you something. I was nervous at first, right? Because I'm watching, like, we're in the fourth quarter. I'm trying to get ready for the podcast. And all I know is that Detroit was up for a good while. And man, next thing I know, I see Donovan Mitchell breaking ankles, putting Tobias Harris down. He's going off. James Harden going off. I look up, and next I know, Cavs are about 3 or 4 points. I was like, oh my God. I said, I think this right here is not going the way they wanted to go. I'm setting up the podcast. I'm getting things ready. I look up. Next thing I know, Detroit went on a roll. And sure enough, they went up 2-0 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Matthew, my question to you is, does Cleveland have any weapons that we haven't seen or any weapons they can pull out to at least get a win against the Detroit Pistons?
I mean, they got one weapon that we know that we've seen, and it's James Harden playing like James Harden. And
Yeah.
this series, and keep in mind, Sean, I haven't watched game 2 yet. Obviously, we were both running late today. Or I was running late today. So I didn't get to watch game 2 beforehand. I watched game 1. Harden struggling. He was just coughing the ball up, handing it right to them. And what you love. So the answer to your question, I think, is no, but they have weapons that we already know that could be playing better. And so Harden, 3 for 13, 0 for 4 from the 3-point line, another 4 turnovers. Evan Mobley, 9 points. And get this, Sean, here's the worst part from your star
Uh,
big man. One rebound. One measly rebound from Evan Mobley. If you're Evan Mobley, you got out rebounded by Dean Wade, Jared Allen, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Dennis Schroeder, Max Strus, Jaylen Tyson. And then on the other team, you got out rebounded by every single player on the Pistons, guard, forward, center, every single player on the Pistons except for Javonte Green, who only played 4 minutes. Evan Mobley was even out rebounded by Ronald Holland II, who played 9 minutes today. So from your star big man only grabbing one single rebound, you get some contributions from Jared Allen. You get another massive game from your star player, Donovan Mitchell, but you're getting nothing on the other side. And here's the thing, Sean. Here's the
uh,
thing. Here's the thing with your Pistons.
all right.
We had went to bed on the Pistons. We had went to sleep on the Pistons. We had said a week
Yeah.
ago, Boston's up 3-1, Detroit's down
Yeah.
3-1. They've got no chance. They have stormed back, and how have they done it, Sean? From balanced contributions from every player on the team. When every
Right.
player on the starting lineup, except for Jaylen Duren, who had a tough game, but every other player in the starting lineup was in double digits. Every other player in the starting lineup scored, shot at least 50% from the field. And Danish Jenkins, who ever
Uh-huh.
since the Cunningham injury has emerged as like one of the true star in their role 6
Yeah.
men in the league, came off the bench, gave you 14, 6 and 4, an Andre Iguodala-esque stat line from the young man Danish Jenkins.
Right.
And so the Pistons are really rolling on all cylinders, and they're at a spot we didn't think they were going to be at a week ago.
Right. And here's the thing, right? We've often talked about this. They call it the James Harden curse, as they used to call it back in the day, right? Even when he was with the Rockets, Clippers, whoever he's with, right? Bro, he would look fabulous during like the whole regular season, right? But man, when it comes to the postseason during the playoffs, it's like, man, who is this guy? What happened to the guy that was putting up all these spectacular numbers and breaking ankles and hitting these threes? And Why do you think when it comes to the postseason, he can't seem to get over that hump and be the spectacular Harden that you normally see during preseason? Now, this is not the James Harden from 5 years ago. We know that. But he's still got something left in the tank. But it's like we're not even seeing that.
It's hard to say, Sean. I mean, because he's a spectacular player. I watch whatever team Westbrook's on.
Yep.
And so at different points of Westbrook's career, he was on the Thunder with Harden. He was on the Rockets with Harden. He was even on the Clippers with Harden, which people forget. He was backing up Harden that year, I think 23, 24 on the Clippers. Harden's a spectacular player.
Right.
He can shoot. He can score with the best of them. And his playmaking ability is so... I mean, his passes, when he's really locked in, are just so saucy. I mean, he is just an incredible player. He could do a little bit of everything. You don't play too much defense. I wonder, when you ask why he dropped so much in the playoffs, I wonder, he has the reputation as being somebody who likes the club, as being somebody who likes to go out. And you wonder if some of it is that he doesn't care. I mean, because he's so good, and I just can't imagine someone this good playing this bad, this consistently in the playoffs. So I really have to ask, is it because he doesn't care? Because that's the only thing I could think of. Because if you watch him play, and if you watch him play for the last, 15 years, but particularly since he got to Houston, just an incredible talent. And so to be coming in the playoffs, coming into the second round, now averaging 5.5 turnovers a game in the second round, shooting 25, 30%. I just don't know what's going on with him. It's just inexplicable to me. And earlier in the podcast when he got traded to Cleveland and they were having success, Sean, I mentioned to you, it's not win now, it's win this year. Because you just never know what James Harden you're going to get. You never know what version of him is going to wake up and, be offended about which way the wind is blowing on the Ohio River this morning. You just never know, Sean. And so I said it was win this year, and it's not looking good, down 2-0.
Got you.
Oh, yeah. All right. We'll get someone new in the studio, Sean.
Yeah. We have Alex and Diana. I don't know if they're just trying to listen or they're actually trying to hop on here. I don't think they're trying to hop on. I sent them the link because they wanted to check it out. Okay. But Matthew, so let me ask you this. If it comes down to the Pistons versus New York, Cade versus Brunson in the conference finals, make your pick right now. Who's the better guard when it matters?
We haven't seen Cade at this level yet, but the way he has stormed back, coming down from 3-1 against Orlando, the way he's playing right now, 25 and 10 tonight, 50-50, 100 from the field. I mean, he's playing so good, and we've seen Brunson struggle before in the playoffs. I really think, I think it could be Cade Cunningham, especially when he's getting contributions from Tobias Harris, when he's getting contributions from Duncan Robinson, Asar Thompson, when he has now a competent backup so he can actually get some rest, he doesn't have to have the team on his shoulders 100%. I think I like Cade in that matchup a little more. I think Brunson's a little small. I think when it comes time and they start fouling him and he's not getting those calls because it's the third round of the playoffs and nobody wants to watch a free throw shooting contest in the third round of the playoffs, I think it might be Cade, and the only thing that's going to go against him is the lack of playoff experience. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out.
All right, let me ask you this before we move on to that subject. Are the Cavs done? Like, done? Like, they're down 0-2. No answer for Cade. Harden's looking like the 38-year-old he is. Mitchell looks like he's already maxed out. If there is a way back, give me a real path back. How would that even happen?
You need Mobley getting more than one rebound. You need Harden putting up 20 and 10. I mean, you need a few different things. You have such a talented starting lineup if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers. You can get a lot more from Evan Mobley. You can get a lot more from James Harden. But I don't want to condemn this series. I don't want to say it's over, down 2-0. But Game 3 is a must-win, and then Game 4 is in that must-win territory. But you have to come out and you have to dominate in Game 3. And so it's not quite over yet, but if you lose your next game, it's over. So you need a little more from Harden. You need a little more from Evan Mobley in Game 3. But I still need to go and watch Game 2 once we get off the show here.
Right, right. Got you. Okay. All right, let's move on to topic number two. Man, we all talked about the Lakers versus Thunder, right? I
Mhm.
mean, honestly, it looks like the Thunder's just going to sweep them 4-0. I just don't see no other way around, right? But at least, you're going to get a decent stat from LeBron James, right? But without Luca or the other guys helping, they're really hoping that Austin Reeves can get something done, or even Kennard can get lucky with those threes again, right? But man, Reeves got cooked in game one, man. I think it went 3 for 16. He had like 8 points. Luca's still out. They need a totally different game plan tonight, right? Um, Not only that, per ESPN tracking, he went like 0 for 10 on contested shots. The first player to do that in a playoff game since Draymond in 2023. This is like the worst Lakers postseason shooting night in like 40 years. LeBron did lead with 27, Hachimura with 18. Then they asked LeBron, what did you think about, Reeves having a bad night? He's like, oh man, he's been out. He was out for a while. He just got back. But we'll know he'll make the shots, but it's tough, man. But what do you think about that? Do they need Reeves, Kennard? Like, who do they need to help them to even come remotely close to beating OKC?
God, prayer.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't think they have anybody on their bench right now that's gonna. I mean, Luca's there, and Luca's out. It looks like he's gonna be out for the series. He's there in street clothes. They traded your boy Davis to get Luca, and the big knock on AD was that he was always out. And come
right.
this time of year, you come playoff time, your player that was taking 35, 30 shots a game those last 3 weeks of the season, he's gone. And so it was always untenable when Luka was on that run the last like month of the season where he was averaging like 40 points a game, but he was taking 30 shots a game. It
Hmm.
always felt untenable to me because I always felt like, well, come playoff time, they're just going to sell out to stop Luka and they're going to make 41-year-old LeBron beat you. And so, but it's even more untenable now that he's actually out. And it looks like the way they talk about it, it looks like he's at least out for the series. There is nothing I saw, Sean, in that game one that tells me the Lakers have any chance against the Thunder. The Thunder were comfortably ahead that whole game. Anytime the Lakers got a couple buckets, the
Hmm.
Thunder they have, it's such a crazy team, Sean, because I was telling this to my cousin. They
Uh-huh.
have the best offensive player in the league in FTA. I mean, they have the best offensive player in the league in SGA. And they have probably the second or third best defensive player in Chet Holmgren. Then they just have a bunch of no ego, 3-point shooter, switchable on defense shooters surrounding SGA and Chet. And they're just cruising even without Jaylen Williams. So, it makes me worry about what my Spurs are going to have for them come the third round because I still strongly believe it's going to be the Spurs and the Wolves, but I mean the Spurs and the Thunder. But
Uh-huh.
I don't think the Lakers have anything for them, especially with a 41-year-old LeBron leading the team with a bunch of misfits. But if it was 2018 Cleveland LeBron, I think he could take these misfits pretty far, but not this version of him.
Right, right, right. And listen, we got CYNRIC. I don't even know how you Senric. I guess we're pronouncing it right. And he definitely agreed. Harden has to be the worst playoff performer of all time.
I mean, he's got a big spotlight on him, so we see him messing up. So it feels like it. I mean, I'm sure if we went through 80 years of playoff history, there'd be a couple worse playoff performers. But given the spotlight that's on him, yeah, Harden's pretty consistently pretty bad in the playoffs, and you wonder what's going on there.
All right. If you had a choice, Matthew, and the game was on the line, would you pick James Harden or would you pick your boy Russell Westbrook?
Man, look, man, I don't even like to talk about this because I'm gonna say Westbrook, and people are gonna say, "Oh, that's crazy." But I'm talking about prime 2014 to 2017 Westbrook, MVP Westbrook, that was just taking that lottery Thunder team and putting them on his back every night, coming down from 10 with 5 minutes to go. One of the great clutch years of all time. Go back and watch that MVP Westbrook season. I saw him dragging his team back from down 10 in clutch time, countless games. I'll take that Westbrook over Harden any day of the week.
Okay, okay. All right, look, and let's look at Chet Holmgren also, right? I think he went 24, 12 with 3 blocks. And he's just at age 23 in this playoff debut series, right? Is he already like a top 3 center in the league, or is OK systems making him look better than he really is?
I mean, he's a top 3, maybe top 5 defensive center in the league. I mean, his offense ain't there. Like all his buckets or open threes are just, he's wide open by the basket, and SGA already mesmerized everybody. And so Chet gets a free run at the basket. No, I mean, he's good. He changes the game. He's not like Wemby down there, but the Lakers are definitely staying out of the paint when Chet's down there. And, he can move a little. I don't know that Chet's going to be a guy like Rudy Gobert that could get played off the court when you're going against smaller guards. So he's nowhere even close to being a top 3 center. If you consider Wemby's way better than him, Jokic is way better than him, and there's a bunch of guys now. Center, I'm trying to think about it here, because there's a lot of guys that's offensive bag is better than Chet's, but maybe the all around package. So maybe he's getting there. I'm not thinking of a bunch of centers right now because Giannis in my head, he's a power forward. He's more of a 4. So I'm not thinking of the star centers right now, but I don't see Chet at number 3. But I mean, it is impressive, watching him dominate on the defensive end of the floor, and, actually getting a chance to watch him. And because, a lot of the games I was watching were when he played the Spurs, and they were looking pretty bad in all those games, and they were losing all those games. But he's getting there. But I think if you saw him on another team that didn't have SGA, that wasn't surrounded among just a great defensive shooter, no ego players, I don't know that Chet would look that great on, like if he was on Golden State this year, if he was on Phoenix this year, and you replaced their centers with him, I don't know that he would look that great. But in this system, he's pretty good, and that's good enough.
Okay, got it. All right, so let's look at topic number 3. Boy, the Knicks versus the 76ers. The Knicks, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's because of matchup, but they looking really good. They 2-0 now with the 76ers heading into Philly, right? When you look at game 1, I believe it was 1 Knicks were 137, 76ers 98. It's like almost like a 39 point margin, I think it was.
A lot to a little.
Yeah, a lot to the little. But look at this. Maxey was cooking early, man. He had like 18 points in like the second quarter alone, right? Then Mikal Bridges switched onto him and held him to 8 points the whole rest of the game. Brunson gave Bridges all the credit when it came to the post game, right? Brunson had 35, 27 in the first half. That's the second highest scoring half by Nick in playoff history. OG Anunoby had 18. Bridges and Towns had 17 each. Nick shot actually 63% from the field goal and 51% from the 3. When you're firing off on all cylinders like that, can you even be stopped?
Well, I mean, OG Anunoby came up, gimping when he went for a dunk in the last game, so he's going to be out.
Yeah.
Now,
it was like a 2 minutes left. I think he got like hurt. I think in the fourth quarter after a dunk attempt with like 2:56 to go. And listen, he was the Knicks' second leading scorer this postseason with 21.4.
So you can certainly be stopped by injuries, but it doesn't look like this 76ers team is going to be the one to stop you, because I think they gave everything they had to win that first round series. I mean, Embiid was playing so injured. I mean, you look at Embiid out there, you look at the big fella like running up and down the court, looking like he can barely run. You see him getting the offensive rebound, and instead of punching it, just putting it off the glass, it didn't look like he could dunk last series. I think he gave everything he had, and that team gave everything they had to beat the Celtics. And now you already got Embiid in game 2 not playing. And when he's not playing and so much of what you do is based around him, I know there's a lot of hating on the injuries and how he's not playing. And, I know you believe they need to move on from him and go to Maxey. But I just think before you get to all that, you really have to give him credit for making sure he was out there against the Celtics and just willing them, giving everything he had to beat the Celtics. But I think they're spent. I think they're done. The Knicks, even though it was a 6-point game, it felt like, I was watching it from trivia and I was looking up watching it, And, the Knicks were constantly up 3, up 4. Every time it got to a tie game or every time they were up 1, they pushed it back to a couple possessions. It was a close but clear game. The Knicks were pretty comfortable the whole time. And I just don't think the Sixers without Embiid, I mean, they've got a roster. They've got Paul George, they've got Edgecombe, who can really do a little bit of everything. They've got the speed demon Tyrese Maxey. You even have a good role player like Kelly Oubre. But when you're replacing Embiid in there with Andre Drummond, I don't think you have enough to beat the Knicks that have just a little bit of everything with their starting lineup, but also McBride, first one coming off the bench. That's a pretty solid top 6. And I don't think Philly minus Embiid has anything for them.
Yeah, and it's 5 p.m. About 4 hours ago. The Knicks also have Josh Hart questionable for Game 3. Mitchell Robinson probable after missing Game 2 with illness. Josh Hart, he does to me some of the smallest little intangible things that really helped him out. Is that gonna hurt them at all?
I mean, that could really break up their chemistry. If you tell me that Josh Hart, who, it might be a little bit overrated in the Draymond context, but if you tell me their glue guy, Josh Hart, is out for the game,
Questionable.
Questionable. So if he's the one keeping them connected defensively and also doing a little share of his, point guard duties, he's not the point guard, but he does the share of handling the ball on that side. And he does a little bit of the Draymond dribble handoff thing. So if he's out and Anunoby's out, I mean, you've got a pretty interesting Game 3. I don't know what Embiid's status is, but I imagine if he's missed Game 2, he's probably going to miss Game 3, maybe miss a little more time. But this is your chance if you're Philly. If you got Josh Hart and you got Anunoby, whether they're out or whether they're playing at 50%, you'd think if you're Philly, Game 3 is your chance. You're either going to get it on Game 3 or you're going to probably get swept.
Got you. All right. Let's move on to topic number 4. Boy, you said we're going to bring it up. And yes, we're going to talk about Wembanyama. But first of all, let's look at Game 1 Monday. Wolves 104, Spurs 102. Edwards came off the bench the first game back from that knee bone contusion hyperextension, right? He played like 25 minutes, dropped 18, 11 just in the fourth quarter, including the game-winning bucket, stayed in the bench role due to recovery, right? But let's look at Wemby's Game 1 line stats. 11 points, 15 rebounds, 12 blocks, playoff triple-double, plus the most blocks in any NBA playoff game in history. Through 3 quarters, he already had 10, tying the previous record, and tacked on 2 more in the fourth. He's now the youngest player ever, 22 years old, 120 days, to record a triple-double with blocks in a playoff series. Since 73-74, he joined Hakeem and Andrew Bynum as the only players to ever do it. But let's look at game number 2, because I told you I was roasting you a little bit. I was like, "What happened, Matthew?" But game 2, oh my goodness, 133-95, a 38-point margin, the worst postseason loss in Timberwolves franchise history. Wemby 19 for 15. Stephon Castle game high 21. Most points in the Spurs playoff game since 1983. What happened, Matthew, between Game 1 to Game 2? Tell me what happened. I don't understand. It was like night and day.
Sean, people were texting me after Game 1, wanted to make fun of me. Knowing I'm a Spurs fan. They wanted to say, "Oh, are you worried? Are you panicked? This is going to be a harder series." Look, man, teams slip. Teams lose Game 1. I was not worried at all after Game 1 because Game 1, you got the worst possible performance from Wemby. And I know on offense, because I know people want to talk about, "Oh, wow, he got a lot of block shots. He got a lot of rebounds." Yes, we know Wemby's tall. We know Wemby block shots. But what you got from him on offense was just horrendous. 5 for 18, 0 for 8 from 3. And it just wasn't going to happen where Wemby and Fox were going to have another horrible game. And the other thing is the Timberwolves have a lot of guys that didn't contribute all season that are all suddenly playing like the best players in the world. And so when you see Terrence Shannon Jr. dropping 20, when you see Jaden McDaniels, who's very good, but averaged 14 points a game in the regular season. When you see him dropping 30, you
Yeah.
know at some point these guys are going to revert to the mean. So after game one, which pretty much everything that could go right for the Wolves did go right for the Wolves, and they only won by 2 points. And San Antonio still had a really real opportunity to win that game, driving down two with 6 seconds to go and got a wide open look for 3. So if you're going to tell me that San Antonio is going to play their worst game of the season and it's still going to look that close, then I was telling everyone after game one, we ain't worried. Come on, man. The home team drops game one all the time. Teams get it stolen from them. And what I said was if they come out and really lay it on them, if they really kick the you-know-what out of them in game 2, then I'm not going to be worried at all. And what do they do, Sean? They just, they take out the belt in game 2 to the point that they were up 47 at one point. 47.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, Ant couldn't really play that much because whatever's going on with his knee. And, it's very risky. The fact that even him playing 24 minutes, I think it's very risky out there with his knee. Terrence Shannon Jr. came down to earth. Jaden McDaniels came down to earth. They both only had 12 points. Dosunmu, your star backup from the first round, comes back from his injury, 0 for 4, only plays 10 minutes. So, of course, they have a lot of injuries. But I want to talk about something specific, but I think the Spurs are okay. Maybe it goes 6. I still think maybe Spurs in 5. Let's see how game 3 goes. But let me talk about this, Sean.
All right.
Devin Vassell. I don't know if people have seen the play yet. The alley-oop three-pointer where the shot clock is running down. He gets the hot potato ball from Champagny. Already starts going up in the air. No dip. Makes the three-pointer. If you haven't seen this play yet, which I'm sure you have, because if you're watching this random boxing and basketball podcast, I'm sure you like basketball enough to have seen clips throughout the day. But if for some weird reason this is the first time you're hearing about this three-pointer, go watch it right now. It's the most incredible thing. And here's I was talking to my boss about this, and he said, you know what, Matthew, when people are making shots like that, hang it up. It's over. Come back, hit the shower, and fight another day, because you're not going to win the ball game when the other team makes shots like that.
Right. And Matthew, look, I also want to talk about Stephon Castle, right? Just a rookie, dropped 21 points like that. But Matthew, one thing I want to bring up is what the commentators kept talking about. As good as Stephon Castle is playing, he's constantly finding himself in foul troubles, like 5 fouls, flirting with 6 fouls, right? I mean, if you get in foul trouble like that against, like we talked about, them going against the Thunder, you getting in foul trouble sitting out, is that going to hurt the Spurs?
Oh, man, that's our enforcer. Come on, man. Like, people have been trying to get at Stephon Castle the whole playoffs, and he's been bucking right back at them. But he's a tough defender. And here's what we have right now is that not only he does get into foul trouble, he does play tough defense, but here's what the Spurs have at the guard position. We have an embarrassment of riches, as they say. We have so much at the guard position. So even you say Castle plays tough defense all game and fouls out. Okay, so what do we get next? Dylan Harper coming at you, who really...
Oh, and he played good yesterday, too.
And he's so limited in what he can do because he is clearly behind Castle and Fox right now. Maybe not in terms of talent, but in terms of what his role is on the Spurs. He's very clearly the backup to those guys. But okay, we'll foul Castle out and we'll trade some defense for offense, and we'll give you some Dylan Harper driving to the rim. We'll give you some Dylan Harper step back three-pointers. So it is what it is. If he's going to get the fouls, and we'll just hit you with Harper. But while he's out there, I think we want him doing exactly what he's doing. I think we want him playing that tough, hard-nosed defense. And you know what? A lot of these fouls aren't even fouls. A lot of these fouls are flops, but that's what happens when you play certain teams. They flop, and we saw it in the first round with Avdia. We're going to see it in the third round with FTA. And that is what it is, but I like Castle doing exactly what he's doing right now. And I love how strong he's playing on the defensive and on the offensive end, where he's finishing through contact so often, including in the and one play that they're showing on the highlights, the one I've been seeing where he gets hit so hard and still manages to take that extra step and get the layup. We've seen that countless times this year.
And look, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I remember we talked on Monday night. wasn't like the first 3 quarters, Champagny. He didn't really have no points at first, didn't he? And didn't he explode like maybe in the fourth quarter? Do you have those stats? You happen to have those stats like broken down by quarter what Champagny scored?
From what I remember, and this is just going on what I remember yesterday, he made 4 straight 3-pointers, and I
Let me
believe it
see.
was in the third quarter. I'm not looking at it right now, but as I was watching it, and I was not watching it super closely because I was watching it from a date yesterday, but I did have my eye on it. And let me tell you this: the thought that dawned in my head. This is like the fifth best player you could ask for. This Champagne's probably the fifth best player on our team, but just to have a guy that can casually step up and hit 4 straight 3-pointers when he hasn't done really anything the rest of the game, this guy is a beast. And he's going to be one of those people that he's so far down our rotation that it's going to be hard to keep him at some point. Because at some point, some team's going to say, man, if this guy could be the 5th best player on the Spurs, why can't he be the 2nd best player on the Charlotte Hornets or the Brooklyn Nets? And they're probably going to overpay for him at some point. So he's the kind of player that maybe you don't get to keep. Although OKC has done a pretty good job of being a small market and convinced their role players to stick around. So maybe the Spurs GM needs to get Sam Presti on the phone and see what he's doing. But Champagne's got to be the 5th best player on a team and could easily be a lot of teams' 2nd or 3rd best player. So, shout out Champagny for getting hot, even if he didn't have it for a lot of the game.
All right, let's see if we can find on here. Nah, I can't find it. Yeah, I can't find it per quarter. I wish I had it per quarter. But overall, yeah, but he had like 4 3-pointers. Let's see, he did hit 4 3-pointers in the third quarter. Yeah.
I'm gonna
So yeah,
find
yeah,
this.
he did actually pretty good. 12 points in just the third quarter alone on 4 3-pointers. But yeah, I wish I knew what website to go to look at per quarter, but I don't think he
I
was doing anything at first, but then he just exploded.
I got it right here on Basketball Reference, Sean. In the
Oh,
third
okay.
quarter, Champagny played 9 minutes, 4 of 4 from the field, which all 4 of them were 3-point shots, 12
Yeah.
points, 2 assists and a board. He was +6 in 9 minutes in the third quarter, where just to come into the third with 0 points, sitting on 0, and to come in and
Yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah. So I was right. It's like the full first half, he didn't score nothing, right?
yeah, and then he just turned into an absolute flamethrower. So to have that from your last option on your starting lineup, because I would say you're going to Fox, you're going to Castle, you're going to Wimby, you're going to Vassell before you're going to Champagny, and a lot of times you might be going to Johnson and Harper before you go to Champagny. So to have that from your 5th, 6th, 7th option to just go flamethrower and give you 12 points in the third, that's huge. And the Spurs have so much depth, and they're so good when they just play their game. And I just worry that as the playoff goes on, they're not unflappable like some of those 2010 Spurs teams, the Duncan, Ginobili, Parker teams. But when they're playing their game, they're just as good as anybody.
Right, right. Yeah, 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 exactly. So, what I can't wait to see how the rest of that series goes. Let's switch over to topic number 5. Right, this is going to be an update from Monday's show when we talked about Jaylen Brown and his little rant he went on. But we said this was going to happen, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
The NBA dropped the hammer Tuesday. Jaylen Brown was fined $50,000 for criticizing the officials. This is from the rant from the Twitch stream from Sunday night where he called Embiid a flopper and said the refs had an agenda against him and said some warrant investigations. So now he's like a repeat offender. So Brown already had been fined $35,000 back in January after a little 2-minute post-game rant about the refs after his loss in San Antonio. The league explicitly cited public criticism of officiating, and that statement came from the EVP James Jones, right? We knew that was coming, right? $50,000.
Yeah,
I hear some multi-million players say, "Yeah, man, you look at our millions of dollars and you say 50,000 is nothing." But man, we don't be wanting to lose 50,000. That's still a lot.
I mean, man, 50,000 for Jaylen Brown on a max contract is nothing. Now, if it was, a two-way player, 50,000 might be like 10% of your contract, or maybe a little less, maybe like 8% of your contract. But for Jaylen Brown, playing on a max deal. I mean, Jaylen Brown's going to be one of the highest paid players in basketball for like the next 5 or 6 years with his contract. So, 50,000, 50,000. But really, it's, well, what are you doing to your reputation? Do you really want to trade? Do you really want out of Boston? And if you do, is it the streaming? Is the talking about this? Is it helping? Because, I think in the current moment, he's showing that he has a lot of ego, and, ego on the great, great players like Kobe, like Jordan. I get that it's cheered on. It's labeled competitive spirit. But if you're not that great and your ego is high, and you think maybe of like a Kyrie type player, teams ask, we see the talent, but we also see the ego, and it's harder to weigh it versus the talent when it's not this truly transcendent talent. And so if Jaylen Brown isn't that, which I'm not saying he's necessarily not that, he was a back-end MVP candidate this year, probably like the fifth or sixth best player in the league for stretches of the year, led the Celtics to 55 wins without Jason Tatum. So he is good, but is he good enough to deal with all of the off the court stuff if this becomes a recurring theme? Because honestly, when Tatum was out, this honestly seemed like the happiest I've seen Brown throughout his whole career. Because, usually Brown doesn't seem to like the media. Usually Brown doesn't seem to like what's going on in the games that I watch. He does seem a little upset a lot, where, Tatum's kind of like your happy-go-lucky superstar. And this was the first time I saw Brown enjoying himself for large portions of the year, being friendly to the media, being friendly just in the little interactions you see in game. And it felt like he's so happy because he gets to be the clear number one because Tatum's out. And now that Tatum's back, and I do think talent for talent, Tatum has him by a little bit, is Brown going to be okay being the 1B? Because you could try the 1A thing for an extended period of time, but at some point somebody's going to take over, and is the other person's feelings going to get hurt? The most famous instance is LeBron and D Wade. And, we're on an even level. Then at some point they just said, okay, for us to win, LeBron, you got to be the number one. And D Wade, even though I'm great, I'm going to be okay being the number two for a little bit. But, for D Wade, it was easy for him to swallow his pride there because he'd already won an MVP, finals MVP as the main guy on the Heat in 2006. So Brown's won a finals MVP. But people, I think, still perceive Tatum to be the number one guy. So is it going to be too much for Brown's ego for Tatum to be the number one guy? And if it is, then he's going to have to get out of there at some point. Yeah. And if you're the Celtics, now would be the time to get rid of him because his stock is going to be higher than it's ever going to be coming off the season he's coming off of. So if he wants that trade, if he wants out, if he doesn't want to be second place to Tatum, then get him out now because you get a lot for him right now. Maybe you won't get as much for him at the end of next year.
Right. And look, and for comparison to this postseason, right? I don't know if you remember that Mitchell Robinson, he also was fined $50,000 on for the altercation he had with Dyson Daniels in the Knicks Hawks Game 6, plus the Instagram post that he posted. I don't know if you heard about that, but he said some crazy off the wall stuff. So not only he got fined for doing the game, but then going to Instagram and said some crazy stuff on there. And then Devin Booker was fined $35,000 earlier in round one for ripping the refs after game 2 versus OKC. So listen, with Devin Booker, $35,000, Brown, $50,000, Robinson, $50,000. Players are clearly just fine. They fine with just paying these fines, right? But should Adam Silver start handing out game suspensions to actually change behavior, right? Because fine is one thing, but imagine getting fined, you're not playing the game, you're hurting your team. And let's just say on an average, you're getting, say the average player with those, say 30 million, right? And you get hit with the game suspension, that's like around 300,000 that you're missing out on, plus getting suspended. Is it time for suspensions along with the fines?
Man, it's time for him to start sending some of that fine money my way. I mean, those are some pretty big numbers you said, man. I could use that for renting the car this month. I mean, 50,000 is nothing to them, but whoo! But I only say that to say the answer to your question: absolutely not. Not during the playoffs. Do not. it's been such a successful postseason. We've had so many good games in the playoffs. We've had so many good games since the play-in started. And so if you're gonna suspend cats, like, I'm fine with it, but make it start at the beginning of next year's regular season. That's the last thing we need is our star players, especially the players you named that have been fined. You talk about a Jaylen Brown who's already out but was in the playoffs. You said Devin Booker. So these are the star players of the team that you're talking about getting fined. So if you're going to talk about suspending players, maybe on a case-by-case basis, but 100% not in the playoffs. You've got such a good product. We've had so many good games. Nobody's going to care if Devin Booker. Nobody's going to care if Anthony Edwards. I don't think you said Anthony Edwards, but who'd you saying? Then Jaylen Brown, the couple more cats. Nobody's going to remember if they're suspended for game one of next season. But who's still out there? Mitchell Robinson. So, I mean, you don't want to rob the Knicks of their rebounder in the playoffs. You don't want to rob these teams of their best player. Not Mitchell Robinson, but for those other guys, those are the best player. So if you do a suspension, do it for the first game of the regular season. But nothing those guys have done really warrants a suspension either. But don't do it, but especially don't do it right now during one of the best playoffs we've had in recent years.
All right, got it. All right, now we're going to end it with this. We're going to hit the quick hot takes for the end of the show. You ready for these one-liners again, Matthew?
Let's do it.
All right. The Pistons aren't just better than the Cavs. They're better than the Knicks too. Defend or disagree?
Ooh, I'm going to say disagree right now. I think the Knicks have been pretty good, pretty consistent for the postseason. And, just a week ago, we were talking about the Pistons having to come down 3-1 against one of the worst teams in the postseason, the Orlando Magic. So I am going to disagree with that, and I'm going to roll with the Knicks for now.
All right. If Detroit closes this in 5, are they a legit finals threat?
Yes, because they would only have to get through the Knicks game. They'd only have to get through the Knicks or Philly, who is laboring. So anybody from the East that makes it through this round is going to be a contender because all the other teams are unproven. So Cleveland, unproven, lost last year, added Harden, is losing right now. Detroit, unproven. Knicks, unproven. And then Philly, I don't even think we have to worry about it because I think they're too injured at this point, but unproven for many years. So if the Pistons get through this round, yeah, they're a legit finals favorite, but they're a legit favorite to lose in the finals to either the Spurs or the Thunder.
All right. Did the Knicks sweep the Sixers without Embiid, yes or no?
I think yes. Without Embiid, I think the Knicks have too many weapons, and I think Philly has a lot of weapons, could get hot, but if you're matching Andre Drummond against Karl Anthony Towns, then the Knicks, still just have so many other weapons. Jalen Brunson, let's see what happens with OG Anunoby. Let's see what happens with Josh Hart, who, you don't necessarily need to get to sweep or not get a sweep. Josh Hart's not going to make or break the series, but you'd like to have him there. But if Joel Embiid's not playing, I think at most Knicks in 5.
All right. The Lakers, can they win even just one game against OKC? Yes or no?
That's a sweep. Watching game one, and I watched most of game one, that feels like a sweep all the way. There was nothing the Lakers had for OKC. They just don't have the weapon. It's a mismatched group of players. What they need is prayer because that's what it's going to take to win a game against the Thunder.
Right, and I'm sure you're pretty sure that, or in your opinion, is there any chance that you think Luka's even going to be back?
Like I said, what they're going to need is prayer. I don't think Luka's coming back because I think we'd be hearing about that. And what I've heard is that his timeline is 8 weeks, and they revealed that about a week ago that he's on track with his timeline, but his timeline puts him after this series would put him mid-round in the third round, which they're not going to have to worry about because they're already going to be in Cancun by mid-round of the third round.
All right. And the last questions. The Cavs coach, Kenny Atkinson. He's supposed to be the next great coach. Does he get blamed if the number one seed sweeps his team at all?
I like looking at him on the sidelines. He's like an animated, just funny looking guy. So if you get a chance, pay attention to him.
Okay.
But I mean, how much can he get blamed when you bring in Harden, you trade Darius Garland to bring in Harden to try to elevate your team in these moments, which I know his reputation doesn't say he would elevate in the playoffs, but you just think that pairing of him and Mitchell, I, I'm hesitant to blame Atkinson, but his team also folded in the playoffs last year after being the best team in the regular
Exactly.
season. So
Yeah.
at some point that seat starts to get hot. But
They had like 64 wins last season.
yeah, I mean, at some point that seat starts to get hot, but I think this year the James Harden narrative might save him if they keep losing these games because James Harden's turning the ball over 7 times a game.
Right. Because right now it's Cade Cunningham is just making him look like he has no answers.
No, and it's amazing what Cunningham's doing. I mean, he struggled so much to start that Orlando series, and so I love what he's doing out there, and he's elevating his game on both sides of the floor. All the while, his counterparts on the Cleveland side are falling apart. They're shrinking.
All right. And Matthew, before we get out of here, let me take a quick look. Oh my goodness. This can't be right. The Lakers have tied it up 49-49 versus Thunder. Still
I
got
see him
3 minutes
up 3.
left in the second.
I got him
Oh,
up 52
am I
49.
behind? Oh, yeah. I just hit refresh. It was 2 minutes, 40 seconds left. But you know how old man LeBron and them, they're going to phase out the third quarter, fourth quarter. And Mama say by the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter, I'm pretty sure Thunder's going to run with it.
Yeah, I think if you're OKC, you're down 3 in the second quarter. You're not worried about it. You know what's going to happen in that third quarter. They got a little run in them. I'd be very surprised if the Thunder don't win this ball game.
Yeah. All right, there you have it, man. We thank y'all for checking us out. Listen, Monday, I know we're gonna have a whole bunch of stories because we still got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, full of NBA excitement. Matthew, I told you before, this is the most exciting NBA playoffs that I've seen. Man, down to the wire type plays. It's just been a great year for the NBA. And next week, since the WNBA is gonna be starting up this weekend, we'll have a few things about the WNBA as well. Matthew, what do you want to say to the fans in closing?
Keep the comments coming. We love to see the comments coming in every week. We love to see the views going up. It's really fun having this conversation. A lot of the comments say that I never watch the games. I've started watching more of the games, so I don't have to hear that comment. But
Yeah.
really enjoy the back and forth. So keep leaving the comments, and we'll keep showing up Monday and Thursday.
Yeah, there you have it. Till next time, this is Sean with Boxing Services with my co-host Matthew Rayner. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And